So Cory, I want to congratulate you on your latest sale.
Thank you.
I've been following all your listings as always, but this one really stuck out because the market is, it's pretty much dead right now, right? Talk to all the realtors out there. The buyers are sitting in the sidelines. Sellers are worried about selling because they're not going to get the price that they want. So the market's just pretty much dead, and we're getting into the winter buying season as well, which is traditionally very slow.
Yeah.
So looking at your most recent sale, it was a detached house in Toronto in the 416 area. Very large lot, very very nice property. The thing that jumped out to me was it was listed 7 times in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay. It was listed many times during the bull market when prices were exploding, and the only thing people would talk about is how hot is the Toronto real estate market. So just to give you some perspective out there, in 2019 it was listed for $1,073,000. In 2020 it was listed for $988,000. In March of this year, 2022, during the peak of the real estate market, it was listed for $1,098,000. But most recently, a couple of days ago, you sold it for 1.1, which is higher than anything in the past couple of years, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think even for myself and a lot of the people that are watching and a lot of our realtors, how did this happen? how did this happen?
Great question, Isaac. When I got that phone call for somebody looking for a real estate agent to help them sell their home, obviously I pull up the address, I do my own research, I check out the areas, and I book the appointment. I book a listing appointment to go over all the steps that I do in order to get a top dollar sale. So, first of all, research is number one. And second of all, you book the appointment, you get in front of your clients at the time, and they decide if they want to work with you. Well, what they don't realize is I'm also deciding, do I want to work with them?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's that was my question when I think you mentioned this listing to me when you first got the call.
Yeah.
And then, I looked up the listing, and some of the sites will tell you exactly when it was listed and all that. We can just kind of all search it. And then did you have any kind of hesitation because you're going into a property that's been listed 7 times in the last 10 years?
Yeah, exactly.
With 7 different realtors at that point. So what was your thought process? Did you have any hesitation at that point kind of going in there, or?
I did. I mean, for sure I did. So yeah, knowing that this property has been on and off the market 7 times in the last 10 years, of course, that's a red flag. Mm-hmm. So one thing is you want to make sure when you're having a conversation with your client, if they're going to sign up with you or not, you want to find out what their expectations are, and you want to listen to them. Mm-hmm. You want to listen to them. Mm-hmm. So while they're trying to figure out if they want to use me, I'm also trying to figure that out if I want to sign them up or not. So one of the things that my clients said is, Cory, tell me what price you think it's going to sell. You have to also educate them on the current market, because months before, when they listed in March of this year, the market was different. Yeah. So I had to also say, well, listen, the market has shifted, the market has changed, here's what's going on, and based on what I used to do is 6 months of sales in the area of comparable properties. Now I'm only doing, maybe 2 or 3 months back because that's when the market changed. Mm-hmm. So I showed them a list of properties that have sold in the area very recently after the market shift. And I saw some properties go for a little less. I saw some properties go for a little bit more. And I ultimately decided, it looks like you might be able to get $1,149,000 is the list price that we decided on, and I said that's just the middle. That's the average price of what's going on. You might get a little more. You could get a little less. Who knows what's going to happen in today's market?
Right.
So yeah, you want to listen to your clients. They told me many different things that happened to them during the previous listings in the last 7 years. And you just go from there. You listen. You say what went wrong, why didn't happen. And then you adapt.
I think that's key. I think you did what I would like, I think I can commend you for is because it's listed 7 times before, they can kind of explain to you their bad experiences, or not bad experiences, but their lessons that they've learned from listing with other realtors.
Exactly.
And then you can use that for how to kind of empower them to sell this time.
Exactly.
And how to trust you.
Exactly.
This way, right?
Yes.
So if they're saying, oh, the other realtor didn't listen to us and they just emailed us the documents and then got us signed that way, then that's not what they wanted. So you can kind of really see what their needs and wants are on that
exactly.
time.
Yeah.
Especially in this time when the market is such a bear market now, and we're going to maybe a recession we're even in a recession now. It's very important to listen to the sellers, right? Because I think a lot of recent memory for a lot of people, like the market has been so hot, right? Anytime you get a listing on a Tuesday, by Friday it's probably sold for 26% over asking, and it's almost to the point where people can put a post-it note on a door and get 10 offers already. Right. Now it's very different. Like you actually,
much different.
I know you've always been doing them, but now it's even more emphasized that you need to sit there and listen to them in that way as well, right?
Yeah.
So, I think that's a great kind of lesson for a lot of the agents, and even for myself. There is like how to get this sold, because you sold this at a record price at a record low time at this point, right? So those things don't usually match up, and you found the way to do that, right? I think one interesting story, if you don't mind telling, is going back to listening to your clients' needs. I know from the previous video you have a lot of Airbnbs in Ontario, and one of the days you had to go and service one of your Airbnbs and speak to some of your staff there, and you're out of town, and maybe you can just kind of take us through that story and we can end it on that.
Absolutely. So I definitely knew that my clients are going to need me there in person to help walk them through every step of the way. And when they were signing me up, I gauged that. I knew it. And one of the things is yes, I am a very busy real estate agent, and I'm also somebody who's owned and running so many properties in Airbnbs. So I'm also very busy on evenings and weekends handling that as well. Right. So this particular time, I'm out in Detroit, across the border from Windsor, and an agent calls me and says, "Hey Cory, I'm bringing you an offer." And I said, "Oh, that's fantastic, great, send it in, let me know when it comes in." So sure enough, I get an offer on, and I also spoke to the agent and I said, "Just so you're aware, I'm out of the country right now. Please give me a little bit of time, an irrevocable period that that it can work for
It's
me."
not like a 2-hour irrevocable.
Exactly. I said I need at least until the next day evening. So what happens? I get the offer, and I call up my client. I gave them all the details. We were gonna discuss in person. But my clients don't know that I'm in Detroit right now. So what do? The next day, I jump on the first train, and I head back home, and by 3:00 I was there with them in person, walking them through the entire.
So you basically left Stan by himself in Detroit and said you have to go. So
sorry, Stan.
Of course, and I think Stan was one of the best guys I've ever met, and he totally understands, and I think it just really shows like how much of a personal touch matters still in this business, right?
Exactly.
We're all used to let's do Zoom calls, let's do DocuSign. Right. So a lot of, I think, realtors are so used to that, but sometimes a personal touch really helps. And I think this is how one of the main reasons, or one of the factors that help you sell this property is your clients really trust you, and obviously you got them a great price, so that's also adds to the trust factor as well. So I think the personal touch is key. So
when I started this business about 5 years ago now, I believe, I was looking for a tagline out there, and I was discussing with a good friend of mine, and we both came up with a great one, and it's your friend in realty. And the reason that I have that is I want that personal touch on every single client I work with. I don't want a client to call me as just their realtor. I want them to be able to contact me anytime, any day, whenever it is, as if I was a friend. Call me up anytime. And that's what I say to all my clients, especially for these guys. And when that offer came in, I knew that I had to be there. So
Yeah.
I completely switched my entire weekend plans. My husband Stan was very supportive, and he's the one who's like, get on the train and get
of
going,
course,
you know.
So I think that's
yeah.
great too, because you had the offer, but it wasn't negotiated. It wasn't signed. It wasn't. You had no idea if it was going to get accepted. I mean,
Exactly.
obviously, you would sit there though, but I mean, the fact that you took the train from Detroit back to Toronto and sat there and presented the offer to them in person, I think shows you why you were one of our top realtors in this business.
Yeah,
right?
well, thank you. And I mean, there's other clients out there who don't need that sort of stuff. But I tell that they really, like, when I signed them up, I listened to them. I knew exactly what it is they wanted. They told me their previous experiences. You know, they specifically said a few things where I made mental note that, you know, no matter what happens, I'm gonna make sure I do this and
that's
make them
listening
happy.
to your client. That's listening
Exactly.
to your client is key. Okay.
And that's huge. That's huge. You know, and hey, here we are.
Perfect. Well, if anyone wants more information about the sale or reach Cory for any other questions, we'll put his information below. Please make sure to subscribe, because we're going to do weekly content about interesting sales or interesting topics and all things real estate, not just in Toronto or all over the place, because, you know, Cory owns real estate all over the world. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to send him an email. And thank you very much. Thanks, Cory.
Awesome. Thank you very much.